I don't have a lot of followers on social media, and I really don't want them, but I found and discovered a unique formula to use to generate leads on your social media. Hi, I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips. I'm going to share a little bit from my program, Social Media Classified Ads Formula, where you actually use social media as a testing platform to determine topics of interest while you're generating leads for your particular products or services. You can use this for your clients, you can use this for yourself, but essentially, most people simply just post on the internet. They post on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the popular platforms. But the truth of it is there are hundreds of social media platforms where you can systematically test headlines, audiences, and offers in such a way that it generates leads. You can quickly know what works to attract leads for your business and know what makes sales. You can stop posting and praying. Most people just post and hope somebody likes or subscribes. And then the problem is with these platforms that there are some psychological elements in these platforms that get you coming back, constantly checking over and over again, and you really end up watching cat videos or getting lost in YouTube. I have the same problem. I'm cleaning up my desk. I found some notes about tracking social media as a marketing channel, and those notes are related to my social media classifieds formula. And I said, look, I got to get off the social media because I was poking around and I don't know what I was doing. But I was like, snap out of it. This is a platform for intelligence. This is a platform for information and understanding of target audiences. And it's really no different than message boards of days gone by. So what is the social media classified formulas? Well, there's the concept that social media in a short form is simply classified ads. Now, I go on 50 pages about this, but that is what gets you started. The key is systematically testing and tracking not just links to your own website, but links to other sites in the same topic area. Now, you do need to have followers for this. I opened up telling you that I really don't have a lot of followers online. I don't care to have a lot of followers because I know how to generate leads, and I also know how to rent mailing lists. But there are times where your audience will get information on social media. Maybe they use Nextdoor and your client is a home improvement company and they're using Nextdoor for referrals. Well, you want to have the strategies that help your customer build in that area. Now, I know a lot of you folks might be doing social media already and think you understand what you're doing. You may be doing social media and getting some minor results, but do you have your analytics tool set up correctly to properly attribute the post that you're using? Are you using a tool that actually tracks and codes your links so that you can know which links get clicked and which don't, even if they don't go to your own website? Are you evidencing the value of one channel over another when it comes to the outcomes of individuals? Now, if you've learned how to, I marketed classified ads a long time ago. I did a little bit of mail order stuff. If you understand that world, you can translate that into the platforms today. But now on the 5 or 6 social media video channels, you can figure out which one of those channels generates the best leads. From the 5 or 6 social media channels that your customers go to, you can figure out which ones generate the best leads. And then through that, using some simple context of topic testing, you can determine which work and which don't. These are going to keep your appointment books full. They're going to keep customers in front of you, and they're going to drive forward the outcomes from social media that so many people are promising. Now, by the way, social media will constantly change. You can do this same concept in any ad platform that allows you to make a statement. So if you can put out a tip where somebody can respond if they like it or they can engage with it, or you can put out a post with a link, that it has to have a little bit more than what you're going to get in a Google AdWords. Google AdWords is a slightly different platform. What I like most about social media is that you can drill down into people's psychographic interests. So that's a lot different than renting a mailing list. You can actually drill down into psychographic interests. And so, for example, if I'm target marketing copywriters, I can target market copywriters interested in Dan Kennedy versus those interested in Gary Halbert versus those interested in John Carlton. So I can actually zero into a list. Now, I don't do a lot of social media on that side for copywriters because this is kind of a utility site. Ad Briefings is kind of a utility site. But ultimately, you can use the social media platform to drill down so specific that sometimes you can get lost. Let me give you a few tips. You want to put out classified ads or social media classifieds that engage your visitor in the interest they already have. So essentially, you want them to raise their hand, and you want to, again, have the tracking in place so that when they raise their hand, whether or not they buy, they're in your funnel. Okay, so here's an example. They engage with your video and watch more than 5 minutes. Okay, that's going to tell you something. If you have a 10-minute video and they watch 50%, that's going to tell you something about that individual. If you have a 30-minute video and they watch only 10 minutes of it, that tells you something about that individual. And being able to sift and sort is very easy inside the social media platforms, especially the major platforms. You want to connect with the interests they have, but again, it's a social platform. So you want to cultivate the two-way dialogue. And we have some ideas and concepts about how to do that with your team, how to do that individually, because one problem with social media is it sucks up a lot of time. If you have staff checking social media for you, using tools, 50% of their time will be going through garbage, going through spam, going through people who see one piece of advice that I used to follow was that I'd go search the social media platform for a post related to the topic I'm promoting and then post a reply to the original post with a link to my website. Okay. It's a method that works in a lot of places, but it doesn't work in every place. And it takes a lot of time and labor. So it's not necessarily the best solution. And that's why I'm advocating this social media classifieds formula. The concept that you enter the conversation in the mind of the customer. We all know that as copywriters. And then going a step further, you establish or create a dialogue around their interests, not to set up a consultation, not to get them to call you, and then step them to a new piece of information. Help them solve a problem. I do a lot, and this isn't revealing anything that that would ruin the value of getting the program. But ultimately, I do a lot of my draft posts online. So I'll engage in communities of my customers. I'll spend an hour or two, and I'll answer questions earnestly, honestly, with as much detail as I can to help the person solve their problem, kind of take to the next step. And then I'll take that draft and turn it into an article. So I might write 3 paragraphs in response to somebody's question. I'll try to sincerely answer the question to the best of my abilities. I'll take their question and my response, and I'll build it out into an article, publish it on the blog that I'm interested in. I might answer 3 or 4 things in a day and only do that to the one that gets the most likes. So I want engagement. Now I'll later syndicate out. I'll basically post some social media linking back to the article as well as related articles. And then I'll see if any of my feed picks it up. And if my feeds pick it up, then I'll do some promotions to drive to the website. Now, again, the analytics has to be set up correctly. The retargeting has to be set up correctly. The analytics within the social media platform need to be set up correctly so that ultimately you can then zero in on those who take action. And I used to describe this is another tip. I used to describe this to my staff that we are helping the customer self-select solutions by moving individuals between buckets. There's the universe bucket, and these are just general buckets. There's universe bucket. They're in the universe, and we suspect they might be interested in this. We want to do something to get them to raise their hand. If they raise their hand, or we can narrow them down by some kind of measurable characteristic, they become a suspect or a prospect. Once they're a prospect, then we get them to raise their hand and ask for more information. Then they become an inquiry. And then in the information we send them, we do send out an offer. And when they take the offer, they become a customer. So it's kind of like this sales funnel system that you can actually today start all the way out in the social media platforms. So I'm flipping through here. This program actually has a couple of exercises that you can do, that you can actually do to plan for campaigns, because you really do want to write 3 to 5 posts. So for every article on your website, you're going to have 3 headlines to test for each article. each of those articles are going to have 3 to 5 social media posts with direct link backs that are going to get put into a schedule somewhere. They're going to have 3 to 5 posts that are relevant topics. It could be tips. It could be links to other articles. It could be related content. Those are going to get loaded in your system. And then you're going to spread those out over the next 6 months or 3 months and ultimately drip that content so that you now post a piece of content and then you do all this other stuff to drip traffic to it. But if you're going to do all that, again, you want a way to know if the original post has value. And I believe the social media classifieds formula will help you do that. Now, again, if you have questions about anything that we cover in our in the podcast or at Ad Briefings Copywriting Tips, I would encourage you to ask your questions. Again, I'm on page 52 here. Clearly understand the benefit of positive business relationships and reaching your objective. So this is a point for strong business relationships to lock in the connection, because ultimately you want a relationship strong enough for them to get off of Facebook and get onto your website, to get onto your newsletter, to get into your products. Now, right now, if you're not getting a lot of sales through your Facebook and social media leads, which tend to be a lower quality lead, you want to ultimately you want to engage a little better. You want to start cultivating that relationship, but you want to, again, do the follow-up. Retargeting is good for this. There's something I was going to share with you, but it's actually one of the secrets of the program. And I'll tell you what, since you are a loyal subscriber, I'll share this secret with you, and I guess it'd be no longer a secret, but you can learn enough about your target buyers on social media that you can then take that to a data service and then gather additional details about those individuals so that you can target them all over the internet. You can actually learn enough about somebody on Facebook to reach them in Google, on the Google platforms, on the search engines, on the newspapers or magazines, or in the other mailing lists where they may have bought other product. And it's a very, very powerful approach that most people don't consider. I'm noticing some of the numbering is off on here. My assistant must have got some pages flipped, but that's okay here. The Social Media Classifieds Formula is a program that I do periodically, and if you're interested in this, it is available through my consultancy in order to do this. And I'm going to grab something here and just kind of mark a page because I think I figured out what happened. Anyway, let me wrap this up. So Social Media Classifieds is about using the social media ecosystem as a classified ad network and then applying on top of that direct response. The objective is to learn as much about the customer in that platform as possible, not to try to sell them, and not to get engagement and have dialogue on the social media platform, because there are so many different platforms and the platforms come and go. So if you've got 500,000 subscribers or likes or whatever on a platform, it doesn't really mean anything. Those followers doesn't mean anything. The question I would ask in a consultation is, how many qualified buyers do you have on your mailing list? And if they don't have a lot of qualified buyers, then how many leads do they have on a list that they can start making offers to? If they don't have any leads on a list, then it's how many followers. See, how many followers is such low value that it's the last question we're going to ask about. Because you can buy followers. You don't really have to have actual value and content to have followers. You can just buy them. Also, you would not believe how many email newsletter subscribers, how many social media followers are just garbage. They're not even real humans. They're just robots that are clicking stuff. Anyway, if you have questions about social media marketing or using a systematic approach to read the minds of your prospects using social media as one of the platforms we do this, I have a program called the Social Media Classifieds Formula, and it's available when you visit www.adbriefings.co.uk. Now, if it's available for presentation, you're welcome to just join up. You should look for courses, and it will be listed as a course over there. But the truth of this kind of concept is that the more you know about who the buyers are, the faster you can zero in on your focus. It reduces the advertising costs. It drives down it improves your conversion rates, but it drives down the administrative overhead that's required in order to get that one lead on your list. That, of course, that's cost per lead, improves your profit per sale. But ultimately, it's a systematic approach, and it builds on classified ads, the tiny little ads that would work for you around the clock. It's great. Now, you have to have a couple things in a row, and we talk about that in the program. But once those things are in place, you can just constantly test. And for very little dollars, you can grind out customers, volumes of customers. Then you can syndicate what you learn into other platforms in order to just grow your overall volume. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips. You can ask your questions at www.adbriefings.co.uk. I'm here to help you create and keep profitable customers and transform business relationships into profits guaranteed. And we've been talking about social media marketing.